Wow, what a great Sunday service we had.
Yes, it really was.
As we were talking about Too Close for Comfort as we continue our Up Close series.
Right.
And the reason why we were saying that it's too close for comfort is because when you really get close to people, then things take on a whole new dimension in the relationship. Nothing bad, but with the closeness, there also comes some chaos, there comes conflict,
That's right.
and there also comes the occasional need for correction.
Yes.
And I think that it's important that we understand that when we're close, it doesn't mean that we never ever say anything to others about things that are wrong in their life, right?
Yeah. Bottom line is we all have areas of our character, areas of our life that need to change, that we need to grow and mature in. Nobody's immune to this. And it's so important that we have people in our life that are going to tell us the truth. And we need truth tellers. We need people that are going to be honest and frank with us in a very loving way and tell us what's going on in our life.
And we need these truth tellers because of our capacity to live in denial.
That's right.
It's human capacity to live in a state of denial or a state of ignorance is absolutely astounding.
Right, yes.
And here John Ortberg in his book, Everybody's Normal Till You Get to Know Them, when talking about confrontation, he says this: yet every one of us needs a few people to tell us the truth about our hearts and our souls.
So good.
We all have weak spots and blind spots that we have not navigated, and we need someone to remind us of our deepest aspirations and values and to warn us when we may be getting off track. We need someone to help us question our motives and examine our consciences. We need a few truth tellers.
Right. Okay. So we need truth tellers, but is that easy?
Absolutely not.
No, it's not, because many of us, when we see something that needs to change in either a spouse or a friend or someone at work, it's so hard to be able to go to that person and speak the truth to them because we don't want to rock the boat. We want peace at all costs. We don't want to get rejected.
No, and we want to keep that air of being kind of cool and being the friend and being sweet and nice, so we don't want to be the one who's throwing the stones, so to speak.
But if we do not do it, it is going to hinder their growth and actually them becoming more like Christ. Right.
It says right here, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who understood about community, he studied it at length during the pre-World War II Germany. He built a really tight-knit community there in Germany, and he said this: nothing can be more cruel than the leniency which abandons others to their sin.
Wow.
And nothing can be more compassionate than the severe reprimand which calls another Christian in one's community back from the path of sin. Jesus even gives us the pattern for how we do it. In Matthew 18:15, Jesus says, if your brother sins against you, go and show him his fault just between the two of you. If he listens to you, you have won your brother over. But if he does not listen, take one or two others along so that every matter may be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. And what John Ortberg is saying here, if there's a conflict, and when you get close,
yes, there will be.
There will be conflict.
That's right.
And then the next thing is you, not someone else. Don't send a representative. You go and talk to that person. And the third thing he says is go. In other words, you can't just pray about it. You can't just wish it away. You actually have to go and talk to them about it. And then the fourth thing he says is go to that person. Don't go to your circle of friends, those that are going to listen to you and are going to sympathize with you and are going to commiserate with you, but actually go to that one person. First, before you go and gossip to other people, go to the one person that you know has got something in private. I think, you know, Amy and I, we have done this over and over again. Me and you have done this with so many people, and 99% of the time, when you do what Jesus said to do, you know, they receive it. But not only that, but they're thankful for it, and they actually change and get better as a result of doing what Jesus said to do in Matthew 18.
And notice on that list, it didn't say write an email to them in correction, but you have to go to them in person. And so we're going to give you some tips on how to take correction. And the first tip is learn to laugh at yourself. All of us have blunders. All of us make mistakes. All of us have patterns in our life that needs to change. And if you take yourself too seriously, you're going to get under condemnation. And don't do that.
So learn to laugh at yourself.
That's right.
Look beyond the correction and see who's correcting you. Am I more interested in the person who said it than what is said? If that person, is it someone that you respect? Are they speaking in love? What is their motive? So when you're receiving correction from someone, look and see who is bringing you the adjustment or the correction.
Right.
If they're a mature person, you have to consider, we always say consider the source. If they're a mature person, if they're a mature Christian, if they have a good marriage and good family and they're coming to talk to you about something
Very
in your
good,
marriage or family, you really should listen to them. But if they're not married and they're single, or maybe they are married but their life is messed up, you know what, you really have to consider the source and say, okay, you know what, I appreciate that, thank you, but I'll take it from here and I'll go to someone that can really help me in this area.
That's right.
Right.
Third is thank the person. Whenever somebody comes to you to correct you, it's so important to listen to what they're saying, to not be defensive, and when they're done talking, just say, I want to thank you for taking the time and having the courage to come to me and share this. It must have been very hard for you to do that, and I'm going to really take that to prayer.
Because, you know, it wasn't easy for Nathan to come to David and to bring correction. He was in denial for over a year. David wasn't. He was called a man after God's own heart.
That's right.
And yet, in the middle of that, there was real sin in David's life. And no one dealt with him about it. For whatever reason, no one else came to him or wanted to come to David and deal with him. But it was Nathan, the prophet of Israel, that came and actually spelled it out for him. And then actually corrected him and prayed for him and helped get him restored in his life with God and his worship with the Lord.
So tip number 4, don't focus on your mistakes. This is a time where you need to evaluate what they're saying, to take it to prayer, but then just don't focus on, oh, I made a mistake, and beat yourself up and get all condemned about it.
Right. There is no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. So what we're looking at is we're looking at learning from the mistake and getting better and becoming more Christ-like and moving on, not focusing on the mistake, okay? And the last tip, Aim, is?
Don't be defensive, which is so hard not to do, but be humble and open and coachable. That's always the posture you need to have, is just be coachable and be open.
Thank you, babe. And a few tips for giving correction. When you're coming to someone and you're showing them a fault or a weakness or selfishness or sin in their life is, number 1, check your motive. Make sure you're not just doing it because they upset you, because they're irritating to you, because you don't like them, because maybe you're jealous of them for something and so you want to get even. Those are not the right motives. And if that's your motive, you shouldn't even bother going to someone until you get your heart right. Number 2, be specific. Say exactly what you mean and provide examples. Don't just say, well, you know what, there's sin in your life. That's not good enough. You've got to say, here's what's going on, here's what I see, here's what you've said, here's what I've watched, here's what I've observed, is this particular problem, and you go as specifically as possible. Number 3, speak the truth in love. Okay? So you want to make sure that you're loving, and out of that love, you speak truth.
That's right.
And then point number 4, build a relational bridge that will bear the weight of truth. In other words, you've got to get to know people close enough to where when you speak into their life, you are a credible source for them. They're not going to write you off and say, you don't know me. You really want to make sure that you're close enough to that person that they trust that when you come to them, that you love them, you care about them, and you want the best for them.
The 5th one is end your correction with encouragement. And so you start out, you tell them something you really appreciate about them and honor them. Give that very specific correction. And by the way, I want to say something that is a pattern you've seen in their life. If you see one time they do something, don't jump on them. But if you see a pattern, correct them for that. But then after that specific correction, encourage them again. And tell them you believe in them. Everybody needs someone to believe in them.
That's right.
Everyone needs someone to say, listen, I'm just bringing this up to you because I see this in your life, that you have a great call in your life, that God wants you to be an amazing husband, an amazing father, an amazing friend, a great minister. And so that's why I'm bringing this up to you, because I see so much potential in you.
Let's take a moment and let's really actually demonstrate that in a life situation. You're coming to me with something. Go ahead.
So Dave, I just want to let you know that you're an amazing father, an amazing husband, and I so appreciate you. But I've just noticed a pattern over the last few months when you are really tired or really stressed out and people will come to you and ask you to do something extra. There seems to be at times a frustration in your voice, or a frustration in the way you come across. And I just wanted to bring that up to you. Okay.
Well, thank you, babe. I appreciate it. I think there are times, definitely, I've been tired. I mean, just everything with the church and the building and my other responsibilities. And there's never an excuse for it. But yeah, I think there are times when certain people have come and asked me to, you know, do certain things, or they've wanted to take extra time that I've been frustrated because I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to be able to do all of it and keep on doing my other responsibilities. And so thank you for bringing it to my attention, and I'm going to work on it. Will you help me in this area?
Yes.
And let me just help me see it.
Yes.
But I appreciate you sharing that.
Okay.
Thank you, Becky. You pray for me?
Yes.
Okay. And then she would pray for me, and then we'd move on, and I'd ask her to keep on helping me in this area. So that's a little bit about how to be a truth teller and how to give correction, and also how to receive correction. God bless you. I hope you have a great small group.